Hello, everybody, and welcome to this session of your orientation, the one related to human resource management. I'm Dr. Jim Wilkerson, and I teach primarily in this area. You can see on the slide that's being shown that I have a background in human resource management specifically, both educationally and in terms of career. Probably about a third, probably more about like a half of my career has been in formal human resource management of one kind or another, whether in executive roles in companies both very large and small, or in consulting roles later on when I was an entrepreneur and had my own businesses. So that's a little information about me there. But let's go on and look a little bit at these these bullets related to this emphasis. If you are an MBA student who very much is focused on the human capital kind of thing, the people assets of the company, then this human resource management emphasis might be the kind of thing that you'd want to study. And it sounds almost trite, like, oh, you mean to say, am I a people person? No, not necessarily. I know a lot of really effective human resource management professionals who are not, quote, people persons, but what they are business folks who believe that developing and working with that particular asset of the firm or of the organization is super important. And so that's the idea of this human resource management versus other functional areas that obviously you could be in. You can have an interest more in the finances and dollar sides of thing, in which case you gravitate toward accounting and finance. You could have an interest more in information systems and information management, in which case MIS becomes your sort of your emphasis in your career and in your studies. Or you have folks who want to bring in the money, want to sell and develop markets and so forth, and that's your marketing oriented folks, just as examples. So functional area, just like those other classic functional areas that you see in business, and so that's what human resource management is for, is the focus on the people asset. And so for those people who do pursue formal education in human resource management, an emphasis in their MBA program or HR degrees of some kind or another, they usually are interested either in the sort of the basic process stuff of human resource management, that is, the acquiring, developing, motivating and retaining human talent. Acquiring, developing, motivating, and retaining human talent. I've told many executives over the years that if their human resource management function and office and activities cannot do those basic things, get good people, develop them further and develop them into effective employees, motivate them to perform well and to stay and so forth. If the human resource management function cannot do at least that, then why have it? And so people who are jazzed by that challenge, they get into this educational area, right? Other kinds of things that interest folks who go into this field, both in their studies and in their professions, are the classic sort of personnel sub functions, like what? Well, staffing, training, comp and benefits, ER or employee relations, and employee safety and health. A lot of people start out as specialists in those areas when they're junior professionals, and all toward the idea of getting a good experience in each of those areas so that they become what? Well, they become generalist human resource management professionals further down the line in their careers, with capabilities across a lot of those sub-functions, and those kinds of human resource management professionals, when they combine their experience with this generalist knowledge and experience base and formal education, like what you may pursue here in our degree program, you combine all that, they're the ones who are then positioned for upper level and executive level human resource management positions that become decidedly more strategic, okay? And you get to participate in that capacity in this resolution of all these other moving parts of the organization, your technologies, your capital, your future plans, marketing, initiatives, operations that you're actually doing day in and day out in the company. All those things have to be obviously coordinated and rationalized and resolved one with the other and integrated. And the people thing, the employees thing, well, it goes all throughout all of that. And so at the higher levels, at the more experienced generalist levels, 5, 10, 15, 20 years later in one's human resource management career, a lot of your time gets spent in strategic mode. So those are things that sort of are functional about human resource management. And then as far as the roles, I kind of indicated, you start out usually as a specialist and then you go to a generalist, and these are multi-level in companies. Even in little tiny companies, you have this need, okay? You say, well, gee, that idea of specialist and generalist, going from a coordinator or specialist or consultant role up to an assistant manager or manager or executive role like director, vice president, executive vice president, that all sounds very big company, right? And you're right, it does. And in very big companies, they have a lot of this formalized human resource management need, okay, and an HRM structure built right into it. But you have this need even in little small companies. There are some of you there right now who have this entrepreneurial kind of bent to you, who say, "Hey, I don't want to work in a Fortune 50 or Fortune 500 firm. I want to work in a little 80-person company and make a difference and so forth." Hey, you still have all those needs. Go back to what I just talked about. You still have the need to bring in good people, develop those people, motivate those people through their pay, which will motivate them to stay mostly, and through certain other kinds of flexible pay, which will motivate them to perform incrementally better. For the sake of what? Well, for the sake of competing better and destroying your competition with your superior human resource assets and the way in which you apply them. Okay, that's where that strategy starts coming into play. So that happens at little small company sizes too. You get 5 or 6 employees, you have that need. You get 3 employees, you have that need. So it's relevant across all sizes of companies and in all areas. That's what's really neat too about this. Just all areas of industry and our economy, whether it's nonprofit, for-profit, government, completely private sector, commercial, non-commercial, and every conceivable industry, okay, in which the human beings are employed. So it has a nice broad application in that regard. Also realize that some people who have human resource management training and education and experience down the road, they often become consultants and specialized providers, service providers in that area. That is, they get out of the HR department kind of career track with companies or whatever, and instead consult to companies more flexibly and so forth. And again, in my career, I've done both of those kinds of things, and I can talk with you. Any of you have questions about these sorts of opportunities and way that plays out, I'll be happy to talk with you about that. Obviously, some people even go on with this human resource management foundation into employment law. Okay, we do have a number of people who are trained in human resource management, educated in human resource management, who get that specialized interest in employment law and go on to law school with that foundation, or some of them go on to PhD school and become professors like me. So anyway, that's a little overview of the content and some of the career considerations and whatnot of this emphasis. And I'm delighted that you have some interest in it. Again, feel free to contact me about it and look at the courses that are offered, and you'll find it's very, very useful.